No one wants to get caught in a lie, especially when you're in the spotlight. Hey guys, I'm your host Lauren, and today we're going to be counting down the top 10 times J-Lo was caught lying to everybody. Number 10. Botox. Has Jennifer had Botox in the past? She would tell you no, but many dermatologists would disagree. Jen started receiving major backlash after the release of her skincare brand J-Lo Beauty. She claimed that this was the secret to her ageless appearance, which many just don't believe. The star shared a makeup-free selfie, and her skin looks a little bit too perfect. She has been quoted in the past saying, "I haven't had Botox to this day, I'm not that person." She went on to claim that it was olive oil and not a procedure of any sort, saying, "My mom used to say that olive oil was a cure-all for everything. So when we went to do this, that was the first thing I said, it has to have olive oil." After this statement, the dermatologist Corey Hartman took to Instagram and wrote his opinion, saying, "I think Jennifer is probably forgetting if she's had Botox, but I know for sure that she's used more than olive oil to maintain that glow." Going on to add, "To each their own, good luck J-Lo with the olive oil, we don't believe you, but we still love you, Jenny." Jennifer shot back though, and when asked about the Botox speculation during an interview with People, she said, "I'm telling you what I do works. Please don't call me a liar, I don't lie about things. I've been pretty honest about my whole life." She even responded to some of them criticism on her Instagram and commented back at fans claiming that she had Botox, saying, "For the 500th millionth time, I have never done Botox or any injectables or surgery." But it seems many are in agreement that it would just be impossible to achieve that look at her age with just olive oil. Number 9. The Movieline Interview. Was she using this interview as a chance to bash her fellow women in the industry? Or was she, like she has claimed, just in a fan mentality? The Movieline Interview from 1998 is now infamous because of J-Lo's interesting critiques of other women in the industry. One woman she attacked was Madonna and her acting. When asked about Madonna, she allegedly responded by saying, "Do I think she's great? No. Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, and I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. And I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Gwyneth Paltrow was another victim of this interview. When asked about Gwyneth, J-Lo responded by saying, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God I don't remember anything she's in. Some people get hot by association." Going on to say, "I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Cameron Diaz was next up in the pretty harsh interview. Jen said when discussing Cameron, "She's a lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities. I just wish she would have done more with it." She went on to kind of dismiss the actress by saying, "She's beautiful and has a great presence. Though in My Best Friend's Wedding, I thought when directed she's good." She was then asked about this interview 20 years later, and she did admit that she knew it really angered some people. She said at the time, "I was still in that kind of fan mentality, back in the Bronx. And then you go, oh wait a minute, you have to present yourself in the way that you are." Going on to say, "So I learned to be more responsible." Number 8. Controlling. One thing I'm sure Jen would deny is how controlling she's been known to be. Sources have come forward to speak about how Jen and Ben Affleck's marriage is going, and it seems like there's a lot that annoys her about him. An insider claims that Ben's smoking habit is a big deal for Jen, as this is one of his long-standing habits. They revealed he's promised to give it up, but with all her nagging, he's smoking even more. Besides his most likely very annoying smoking habit, the source also reveals Ben may also have a bit of a cleanliness problem as well, sharing Ben doesn't clean up after himself, which really irritates Jennifer. The source also discusses the way Jennifer goes about nagging her husband, saying she's been known to yell at him and point her finger. It makes people wonder if she mistakes him for a dog. Not only this, but Jen really threw Ben under the bus when she suggested in an interview that Ben had no idea how to dress himself. She recalled a conversation with him and said, "I did kind of like say, you need to be, you're a movie star, you should wear a suit. You should do this with your hair." Going on to say, he didn't do anything he didn't want to do. He had some good fashion moments when he was with me. Number 7. The makeup artist. This is more of an instance of J-Lo believing a lie and then completely running with it. In the mid-2000s, Jen really came after her longtime makeup artist, Scott Barnes. This came after rumors began circulating that someone in her inner circle had leaked information about her private marriage ceremony to Mark Anthony. During an interview, Scott explained what it was like to be basically banished by Jen for a whole year until it was revealed that someone else leaked the information. He said at the time, "It was like I had the Black Plague." He went on to explain that while he did get his job back, Jen supposedly didn't apologize. Scott revealed, "I went back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again, which is even weirder." Number 6. The Mariah Carey feud. It's been a long-known rumor that Mariah Carey is J-Lo's #1 nemesis, and after some of the reported incidents, it really does seem like this rumor is true. This feud dates back to the 90s, and they have both since denied that there is no bad blood, but that just really does not seem to be the truth. Allegedly, the beginning to this long fight began because of Mariah's ex-husband Tommy. In her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of Mariah, she explained how she was working on the single Loverboy when she obtained a sample from the Yellow Magic Orchestra song, what she was going to use for her single. But it seems like Tommy, who is the head of Sony Music, was a bit bitter over the divorce and had other plans. Mariah wrote in her memoir saying, "After hearing my new song using the same sample I used, Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label." But even after Mariah continued telling fans and interviewers that she didn't know J-Lo, it wasn't hard to figure out that this was who she was referring to. It really only went downhill from here though, and during a 2002 interview, Mariah threw more shade J-Lo's way. When asked about her feud with J-Lo, she responded by saying, "There are rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. My whole thing is singing and writing songs. I've been doing this my whole life, and singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent and I'm grateful for it. Her thing is something different." Of course, J-Lo was aware of what was being said about her to the public, and during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, she ended up giving her side of the story. When asked about Mariah, she responded by saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day I've read some things that she said about me that weren't the greatest." She continued on by saying, "But we have never met, we don't know each other. I think it's from word of mouth of things that have happened in the past." Number 5. Trouble in Paradise. Has Jen been lying about her struggles of married life? When they first got together, an insider revealed that Jennifer was walking on air. But now it appears she's come down to reality, as multiple sources have claimed the honeymoon phase has worn off since settling into their life in their home in LA. While both are working with busy careers and the stress of blending two families, could it all just be too much? A source tells the press they're back to the grind of work and parenting. Reality has set in. The same source also explained that only recently, Ben stormed out of the house following an intense fight. Allegedly, the couple have been arguing non-stop since the wedding. A second source says, before the wedding, Jennifer put on an Oscar-worthy performance for Ben, pretending to be perfect and an easygoing wife, claiming Ben was blinded by love and just didn't know what he was really getting himself into. The two have been spotted at various events and look to be fighting in various clips. But could this just be out of context moments, or is there some truth to what the sources have revealed? Number 4. Demanding. Being called a diva throughout her career is nothing new to Jen. She has a bad rep in Hollywood for being supposedly somewhat of a diva, and the evidence is pretty incriminating. Reportedly, Jennifer refused to travel for a commercial that she agreed to do. For the commercial, she was meant to drive through the Bronx, where she grew up, to show what inspired her. But reportedly, she refused to leave LA, forcing a body double to have to step in and do all the work to make the ad for her. Her hotel demands are also known to be excessive. Allegedly, while staying at a hotel in London, she demanded a suite that was fit for royalty, with roses, specific brand of candles, and baked cookies with plain M&Ms. Insiders have come forward to share their experiences as staff when encountering J-Lo. Reportedly, while flying, Jen refuses to acknowledge any staff. An airline attendant claims he offered her a drink, but she didn't even look at him before looking at her personal assistant and said, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke with lime." Even with all the celebrities and other staff members coming forward to discuss their experiences with Jen, she's continued to deny her diva energy. She said during an interview, "I got a moniker of being a diva, which I never felt I deserved, which I don't deserve." Going on to say, "I've always been a hard worker, on time, and doing what I'm supposed to do." Number 3. Her friendship with Garner. How are J-Lo and Ben's ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, really getting along? While the two would say that there's no bad blood, is that really the truth? While one source claims that the two have forged a friendship, other insiders' claims seem to contradict this. During an interview, Garner shares how she's been working hard to not look at any news regarding her or her ex-husband. She said, "I work hard to not see either of us in the press. It doesn't make me feel good, even if it's something nice about one of us." She went on to add, "I don't need to see my family made into a meme." After she was asked if she has seen the Ben memes, and she replied by saying no, but admitting that he is quite meme-worthy. This didn't sit well with J-Lo at all, and an insider shared, "It's Jennifer's way of saying Ben looks miserable, and all of his appearances in the public are lame. How could J-Lo not take it personally?" Adding that the comments made were a big FU to J-Lo. The source further revealed the star's feelings, saying, "Part of her wants to fire back and tell Jennifer off, but she's smart enough to not make too much of a scene publicly. So it'll all be up to Ben to be the referee. Seems like maybe she's some pretty strong opinions that she'd rather the press not know." Number 2. The 2003 split. Seems like Ben and Jen have varying views as to why they called off their first wedding back in 2003. Jen supposedly has claimed that the two just weren't seeing a future with similar visions together. A source told Page 6 they were on very different paths at the end of it. Jennifer was ready to settle down and have kids, but Ben wasn't keen on giving up his bachelor lifestyle just yet. Going on to say she got tired of waiting for him to come around, even though it broke her heart to end things. But is this what Ben felt at the same time? In a conversation that was released after the two split, revealed how Ben hated all the attention the wedding was getting, disappointed, which is one of the reasons the two called for the original postponement of their big day. He reportedly says, "It's driving me crazy, everything is out of control." And at number 1 we have Selena. Reportedly, Jen can't handle media attention and critics as well as she'd like people to believe. Back in 1997, Jen was criticized by a journalist for her role in the film Selena. Though many people loved the movie and Jen's performance, one journalist really felt the star's wrath for not loving it. The journalist wrote at the time, "The one thing you don't do when you walk out of this movie is say, 'Who's that girl?'" During an interview, Jen said, "There are certain people marked for death already. I have my little list of journalists that have treated me unfairly." It didn't end there though, and it looked like she really couldn't handle the heat. Jen was quoted by Animated Times that when asked about the review, she said, "I was totally happy with my work on Selena, but out of the 700 reviews, I can quote, 'The one thing you don't do when you walk out of this movie is say, who's that girl?'" Going on to say, "When another person from the same magazine came up to me, the first thing I said to her was, 'You tell that other bee that writes for your magazine that I'm never talking to her again.'" Definitely a note for other journalists is don't write a bad review about J-Lo because she will never forget. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. Let us know what lie is the most shocking to you in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.